Hey guys, welcome to another episode of What Is That Car Part? Where today we gone knobby looking at some of the main components that make up an engine bay of a Land Cruiser car. Stick around till the end to find out what number 11 is because it's one of my favorite parts of these cars. Now, before we get started, if you're new here, welcome to our channel where we cover all things automotive from project cars to car photography and everything else in between. If you love cars, then hit that subscribe button so you can be notified every time we upload a new video. And if you want to see more videos like this one, then hit that like button so the platform will know to suggest this video to other people just like you. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the video. First off, we have number 1, which is the engine block. This is the main structure that holds all of the internal components that make your vehicle go. The Land Cruiser comes with 2 different engines depending on the model year and region. Here in the United States, you lines most likely come across a 4.7-liter V8 that was produced from 2008 all the way up until 2021, or a 5.7-liter V8 that was only produced from 2008 to 2015. However, you lines notice that I said 4.7-liter and 5.7-liter, but yet I referred to them both as V8 South. Well, the reason for this is because although they do have different displacement, they both share the same exact bore spacing, meaning that they both use the same cylinder heads and other internal components. The 5.7-liter version of the Land Cruiser also came with a 6-speed automatic transmission as opposed to the older 8, which had an 8-speed automatic transmission. However, there are many other differences between those two vehicles. So, if you want us to do a video comparing the differences between the two, then let us know in the comments down below. No, 2 is the cylinder head. This is what goes on top of the engine block and contains the valves that allow air and fuel to enter the combustion chamber and exhaust to exit. Now, just like the engine block, the Land Cruiser came with 2 different cylinder heads depending on whether you have the 5.7 or the 4.7-liter engine. And yes, even though they share the same bore spacing, the intake manifolds, the exhaust manifolds, and the cylinder heads are all different. Next up, we have number 3, which is the turbocharger. If you're lucky enough to own a 2008 to 2015 5.7-liter Land Cruiser with the V8 engine, then you most likely have a turbocharger in your engine bay. Turbochargers are used to force more air into the engine to increase power output. In order to do this, they use exhaust gases to spin a turbine, which in turn spins a compressor that pressurizes and cools the air before sending it into the engine. For more information on how turbochargers work, check out our video, What is a Turbocharger?, which you can watch right here. Moving on to No. 4, we have the radiator. This is used in conjunction with the engine coolant to regulate the engine's operating temperature. In order to do this, the engine coolant runs through the engine and absorbs heat. Once the coolant reaches its maximum operating temperature, it flows into the radiator where the heat is dissipated. Coolant flowing through the radiator is aided by a fan that turns on when needed. In order to maintain the engine's operating temperature, a thermostat is used to control the flow of coolant through the engine. Next up, we have the coolant reservoir. This is used to allow expansion of the cooling system when the engine is operating at high temperatures. As the engine operates, the coolant heats up and expands. If there were nowhere for the coolant to expand to, then pressure would build up in the cooling system and could cause damage. In order to prevent this, the coolant flows into the overflow tank once the engine reaches operating temperature. When the engine cools down, the coolant then flows back into the radiator. Next up, we have the battery. This is used to provide power to the vehicle when it's not running. It also provides power to many of the electrical components while the engine is running. The battery is recharged by the alternator when the engine is running. The battery is also used in conjunction with the starter motor to start the engine. When you turn the key to start the vehicle, a large amount of current is drawn from the battery. This current flows through the starter motor, which in turn engages the flywheel and starts the engine. Once the engine is started, the alternator takes over as the primary source of power. Next up, we have the air filter box. This is used to house the engine's air filter, which is used to prevent dirt and other debris from entering the engine. When the engine is running, air is drawn into the engine through the air filter. The air filter prevents contaminants from entering the engine and damaging the internal components. Without an air filter, the engine would be at risk of severe damage due to the large amount of dirt and debris that could potentially enter the engine. Next up, we have the alternator. This is used to generate electrical power for the vehicle. The alternator is driven by a belt that is connected to the engine. When the engine is running, the alternator generates power that is used to charge the battery and power the vehicle's electrical components. The alternator also provides power to the air conditioning compressor and power steering pump. Next up, we have the fuel injectors. These are used to deliver fuel to the engine. In order to do this, the fuel injectors spray a fine mist of fuel into each cylinder. The amount of fuel injected into each cylinder is controlled by the vehicle's electronic control unit. The fuel injectors are controlled by the vehicle's electronic control unit. The ECU receives input from various sensors in order to determine the amount of fuel to inject into each cylinder. Next up, we have the throttle body. This is used to control the amount of air that enters the engine. When you press on the accelerator pedal, the throttle body opens, allowing more air to enter the engine. The amount of air entering the engine is metered by the mass airflow sensor and used to calculate the amount of fuel to inject into the cylinders. The throttle body is also used in conjunction with the electronic control unit to control the idle speed of the engine. Next up, we have the oil filter and oil pan. The oil pan is used to hold the engine S-oil, and the oil filter is used to remove contaminants from the oil. The oil is circulated throughout the engine by the oil pump and is used to lubricate the internal components. The oil filter removes dirt and other debris from the oil, preventing it from damaging the engine. Changing the oil and oil filter is an important part of maintaining the engine and should be done according to the manufacturer's recommended service intervals. Next up, we have the timing belt or timing chain. This is used to synchronize the crankshaft and camshaft. The timing belt or timing chain ensures that the valves and pistons do not collide. The timing belt or timing chain is also used to drive the water pump and other accessories. The timing belt should be inspected periodically and replaced according to the manufacturer's recommended service intervals. Failure to do so could result in catastrophic engine damage. Last but not least, we have the serpentine belt. This is used to drive various accessories such as the alternator, power steering pump, and air conditioning compressor. The serpentine belt is a single belt that runs around several pulleys, each connected to a different accessory. The belt is driven by the crankshaft and tension is applied to the belt by a tensioner pulley. The serpentine belt should be inspected periodically and replaced according to the manufacturer's recommended service intervals. Failure to do so could result in the belt breaking and potentially damaging the engine. So what do you think? Did you learn something new, or did we forget to mention something? Either way, let us know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of What Is That Car Part? I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.